could tell me about your most successful startup, and can you walk me through how you maybe applied some of the 24 steps as you were working on developing product market fit for them?
Yeah, so if you look at the company that's the easiest to explain, because it was it was a clean slate and we kind of went through it, was Sensible Technologies. We had a raw technology that was coming out of MIT, something you could touch things in the computer. And so this was revolutionary. And you could stay at the conceptual level. Imagine, for speakers are for hearing things, screens are for seeing things. For the first time, you have something you can touch in the computer. Wow, that can be used for everything. And we realized, the team of us and our board realized that's a blessing and a curse, because you have to be focused. You can't, a target-rich environment's terrible because you're shooting all over the place. So you have to figure out what's your key market. And that got to the point of really saying a beachhead market is essential. Focus is very essential. And then once we had that, all right, so now that we have our beachhead market, which after some, honestly, some very good work that we did in market segmentation and analysis, and we had time because we're selling product, but we chose toys, designers for toys, industrial designers for toys. And then it was, what do we do from here? And we looked at how Procter & Gamble comes up with developing products. And we saw what they do is develop a target customer profile. And then we realized, that's what we should do. And so we had a target customer profile, and that helped us understand how many designers there were in all the major toy companies in the United States and internationally. It gave us tremendous focus. But then even with that, you had to focus more. And this brought us to the question of persona. So once we had the target customer profile, we could figure out the total addressable market and then the target customer profile. And and then the persona was an individual person. And I really fought against that. But people said, no, you need to have one person. It's the power of the narrative. Again, a book about this is Made to Stick by the Heath brothers out at Stanford. And it shows how if you use one real person, it focuses people. And that was really the first theme of 24 Steps. Who is your customer? And then what you can do for your customer. Once you have a real person, now we can focus and we can iterate with that person. What's their number one priority? Is it rational? Is it economic? Or is it emotional? Or what is it? And we really dug into that. And again, it gave us great focus. And then from there, we could build our product to map to that persona. We could build our quantified value proposition. We could build our full life cycle use case. And then we could go out and find the next 10 people and see if this persona really represented everyone, well represented the rest of the market. And then we had to say, okay, so we have this customer, we can do something great for them, we can generate value, but can we do it uniquely? And from that point, that gets to the second part of it. What can you do for your customer? So the first theme is who is your customer? What can you do for your customer? And then how does your customer acquire the product? And so these are just the first three of the themes that roll through, but it really led to a small number of people being extraordinarily successful in bringing a new product to market. We had companies that had, were hundreds of times our size that couldn't build the product that we did. And it was clear that our focus was what allowed us to do that. And so that's how this developed. Now, what happened at Sensible as far as building these products, then did we do the back end of these things as well as we should have? That's another question. But we had gotten on the bicycle and we were now riding. And I think that clarified to me, wow, this entrepreneurship thing is something that there are rules that will help you succeed, even though it's different for every person. But the journey's different for every person. But there are first principles that can really improve your odds of success.
Right. So where did Sensible Technologies end up going?
So we ended up, we raised $2 million and we really became quite successful at building raw technology to get out. But then we raised $5 million and then we brought a product to market called Freeform. And that product won all kinds of awards and really got us recognized. And then it allowed us to raise $25 million. And we did. We took the money. Now, this raises a very interesting question. If the money's out there, should you take it? In hindsight, we shouldn't have taken it, because, just because it's there, you shouldn't take it. Because all of a sudden, once we did that, we had a new set of owners, we had new requirements, we had to meet a much higher goal. And so what happened was we really got out ahead of ourselves. But, this is the story of an entrepreneur. If you never fail, you're not pushing it hard enough. You're not learning as much as you should. And in the end, all of us who worked at that company still loved the time we spent there and felt it was the best education we'd ever gotten. A co-founder, Thomas Massey, is a congressman down in Kentucky now. He's done quite well. I moved on to another company and took my lessons there. And that's something you really need to understand as an entrepreneur. It's not necessarily the money you make. It's what you get in your head to make you ready for the next round. Very similar to basketball. It never ends. You got to keep getting on the court. And what did you learn from the last game you played in?
Right, and your career seems to be a pretty good illustration of that. Like, your startup seemed to get progressively more and more successful. Visage, if I'm not mistaken, you took that to a $500 million valuation in 2.5 years. So
that's right.
It seems like your trajectory was pretty linear because you were constantly growing and learning from your past experiences.
And that's what the research shows.
Yeah.
I am N equals 1. That means I'm one example.
Yeah.
But other people, you see it over and over again. The more times you're an entrepreneur, the better you get at it, which shows that it can be learned. You just have to learn those first principles, and you have to get good mentors and be systematic about it and think about it.